Perry the Platypus!
Okay, I've had the idea of making a transforming Perry the Platypus for almost a year now, and with the recent re-release of Phineas and Ferb this past summer, I finally got the perfect opportunity to do this project. And honestly, I was really confident going into this because ever since I was a kid, I never really thought Perry's transformation was too complicated. So I started by using my tablet to do some sketches and get a solid idea of my design. And that's when I quickly ran into my first issue. Phineas and Ferb is a 2D animated show, and I was trying to make a 3D Perry in real life. So just that transition from 2D to 3D caught me off guard because in the show, you only ever see one angle, and I had to recreate every angle in 3D. So because trying to sketch my design in 2D wasn't helping me at all, I jumped straight into SolidWorks and used tons of reference images to help me design Perry in 3D. Honestly, this is where I spent probably 2/3 of the entire project. I severely underestimated how much CAD this project would involve. I mean, it was just part after part and redesign after redesign. Anytime I would think I had a good design, one small problem would creep up out of nowhere and I'd have to rethink everything from scratch. But I knew that the better the design was digitally, the less headache I would have to go through when I actually made Perry in real life. So once I was happy with my design, it was time for 3D printing. Lots and lots of 3D printing. Once I got all the parts printed, it was time to see if my design actually worked. But first, I had to take apart Baymax to get its Raspberry Pi and servo driver. Alright, so I started with the face portion, because if I got this section working, I would honestly feel a lot more confident in my design for the rest of the build. This part also ended up taking the longest to complete, just because of the number of iterations I had to make to get everything working. For example, sometimes the eyes wouldn't have enough clearance to roll. Or the face side panels wouldn't align properly, or I just completely forgot to account for the wires coming out of the servos. That happened a lot. And every single one of these changes I made required a reprint, which definitely added up over time. But eventually, I got all the tolerances dialed in and moving parts working. So next, it was time for the legs and tail. Now in theory, these were the most straightforward parts of the transformation. All I really had to do was rotate Perry's body up to get him to stand on 2 legs and have the tail come up just like it does in the show. But since my Perry can't technically stand on his own 2 legs, I had to add in a base that the legs can clamp onto so there's enough support for the entire body to rotate on. And once again, this part also took some trial and error. Let's run it. Oh. Take 2. Okay, now came one of the hardest portions of the build, the collapsible back head section. You see, once Perry's face rotates, there's an entire empty portion at the back of his head that needs to be filled, and all the panels that fill the space also need to fit within the body. Now initially, I wanted to use a 4-bar linkage, but there was just way too many moving parts and not enough clearance for the entire mechanism. So I scrapped that idea and went with the simpler route using a rack and pinion mechanism. This design was so much better and made it way more convenient to fit inside the main body because all the panels move in a straight line. Then to make sure the rear head panel lays flush with the back while also being able to collapse into the body shell, I added a small spring with stoppers in the design. So now, with these main mechanisms completed, I could fit all the components together and finish the wiring. I have Perry's dismantled body. This prevents my video from getting child restricted. With all the wires routed, I could finally start testing the entire assembly. Yeah, so the body ended up being too heavy for the leg servos to rotate it up. And I tried a bunch of things like upping the voltage and modifying the code, but no luck. I even tried reprinting the tail at 100% infill to act as a sort of counterweight for the body. But I completely overlooked the fact that the servo wouldn't be able to rotate the tail now. So now I just have a Perry tail that's quite literally a lethal weapon. And at this point I low-key kinda got worried because if the body can't rotate, the entire transformation wouldn't work at all. But luckily, ChatGPT saved the day by recommending adding springs to relieve the tension on the servos, and that totally worked. Alright, we're at the home stretch now. I just had to add in the arm mechanism. And this is another part that really got the gears turning in my head. Like, how am I supposed to turn this into this? I thought about it for a while, and just like with the head panels, I figured the simpler solution, the better. Conveniently, the rack and pinion mechanism allows the head panels to extend farther past the body, and there was just enough space to attach the fist to them. So with the help of some magnets, the head panels can extend outward, and the arms can rotate to magnetically attach to the fist. Then the arms can come back down, pulling the fist with it, and the head panel can retract to its final position. So now that I had all the mechanisms working individually, I just had to program everything together into one complete transformation sequence. And let's just say, it took some trial and error. But in the end, after 1 week of debugging, 1 broken Raspberry Pi, 1 kilogram of wasted plastic, and 1 foam fedora later, I present to you the one and only
Agent P.
I'm honestly really happy with how this project turned out. And yes, I really wanted the fedora to be part of the transformation, but once all the wires and moving parts came in, there just wasn't enough room for it. But apart from that, I think Perry's transformation was a success. So thank you so much for sticking around until the end of the video, and make sure to let me know in the comments below what you would want to see me make next. Also, huge thanks for the massive support and comments on my Baymax video. I'm really glad so many of you enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.